Good morning, everyone. This is Jynnette The Oracle with today's Oracle Talks. Welcome. I hope that you are doing well. I pray that you are doing well. I pray that you are navigating life as best as possible and that you are continuing to glow up, to get freed up, to draw closer and closer to spirit, to your ancestors, and to your community. Loving blessings to you all. Happy full moon in Taurus. This is coming out. This is obviously happening a few days after the fact, but still, we are in that beautiful wave of that energy. And so today's messages are going to be around that, specifically around the blessings that this full moon has brought, because it has brought blessings, even if it might not have felt like that the day of or even the days around it. But it definitely has brought some blessings, and there's some beautiful energy here that I want to tap into, provide messages for. So we will start with a general message for everyone around the full moon. I won't be diving into the astrology per se, but just as a heads up, we do have Uranus, who just went back into Taurus, I believe, because it's currently in retrograde. So it has officially dipped back into Taurus, a 29th degree. So that 29th degree may be an important degree point for you in your chart. And we also just had Venus shift into Scorpio, I believe yesterday or Thursday. So that also some lovely energy as well. If you have read the November 2025 astrology report, you know I talked about the this ongoing grand water trine that is present, and all of the personal planets are essentially activating that in various points throughout this month as they come into the sign of Scorpio. So we did have Venus just shift into that. And yeah, and this is a Venusian lunar month. We just had a Venusian lunar event, the full moon in Taurus. So lots of yummy energy, but that just a little snippet about the astrology. But if you want to learn more or have more of that astrological context, I highly recommend reading the November 2025 astrology report. I did link it below. You can find it on my blog page on the website, InnerSynalchemy.com. You also see it scrolling at the bottom of the screen there. And check that out. Get your guidance for both personal matters as well as for business, for those of you who are entrepreneurs. Of course, I will be putting out a new one for December later on in the month. But you know, we are just now in this month, and it feels like we're at the end of the month because so much energetically has been going on, but we're only within this first week of the month. So yeah, that is that. Let me see if I have any announcements. As soon as I finish this live, I will update the availability for sessions for next week. So if you're interested in booking a one-on-one private session with me, regardless of the type of session, you can do so. Again, once I update right after I get off this live, that will be there. So I have a couple different options in terms of individual sessions to choose from, which are all described on the sessions page. Again, that is linked below. So you can check that out and see what you want to dive into and get into. Also, I'm in a very good mood too because of the beautiful blue wave of political energy that just swept through the nation for this recent election day on Tuesday. So thank you to everybody who did participate, if you did participate, and who voted blue and helped to flip some very important seats that are, and also voted for some very important propositions. If you're out here in California, you know what I'm talking about, to, you know, stave off the rise of the political environment that we're in currently. So yeah, I am definitely relieved about that because, you know, it's definitely been a year. So we're also celebrating that. Anyway, hello to everybody who is here. As you come in, say hi, announce yourself into the space. Please don't be a weird lurker like it's odd. Say hi, you can just drop an emoji or whatever. And if you feel comfortable, you can let us know where you're joining from, what you might be sipping on, etc., how you're feeling, share all that. So for today, I have back to my matcha latte. I need to actually stir it up because I just been sitting here. So I've been getting the cards out. Got my little gold spoon because we like pretty things over here. I was going to do a strawberry matcha latte, but I was being too lazy, so I'll do another one later. Alrighty, so let's actually get into the general message, okay? So for this general message, I already have the initial cards out. I am going to expand this because, like I said, I'm going to do messages for all 12 signs. But in general, I wanted to get a sense from Spirit about what these blessings were, what this energy is that I was picking up on. Like I literally woke up this morning before meditation and like an hour before I was supposed to get up. And it was just like, could feel this flow of energy, could feel this, just like this energy transmission, just flow. And it wasn't specific to me. It just felt like it was coming for everyone and available for everyone. Actually, that reminds me, I'm looking this up right now while I'm here with you. I wanted to actually see if we did have a solar flare or something, because I'm very sensitive to what happens with the sun and the impact that has on us, on our electromagnetic field, and our energetics and all of that. But let's see if there's anything about the sun today. Oh, so we're currently in the midst of a geomagnetic storm. That's what it is. So we're having periodic geomagnetic storms. So there was a CME that passed overnight at minimal impact, but we are in effect for geomagnetic storms. And this is, I think, the consequence of the X-flare that we had a day or so ago. Okay, that makes sense on the physical level. So yeah, we got, I'm getting confirmation that energy transmission, we got some sort of dispensation. So, and now that I've actually just said that and gone on that seemingly random tangent, these cards and the visuals on the cards actually make a lot of sense. So I have this card here, Freedom, card number 21, that literally looks like, geomagnetic storms, etc. I also have this card here, Hope. This looks like the sun sending off a solar flare. Then we have Ending here, card number 58. That looks like a human being and the soul, the impacts of, of this on us. And then we have Preparing, and we see all these hands, almost like a globe there. Beautiful energy. Beautiful energy. And in the center, the heart of the topic is releasing. Okay, so I'm getting this message that this experience, if you will, this dynamic is not a unique one. It is actually a triple threat, if you will. Speaking in a benign sense, like in performing arts, being a triple threat, being able to sing, dance, and act. So this one is a triple threat of these transmissions from the sun, the physical and the spiritual ramifications of that are such that on a practical and spiritual level, there really is no difference, but I speak in both. But I will just address the spiritual, because the spiritual is the physical and everything. So I won't divide my language for this. Yeah. So it's impacting not only our dynamics with our ancestors and those patterns and behaviors that have inhibited us at that bloodline level, that actually has, we've already gotten that first dose earlier in this lunar cycle of Libra. What we're experiencing now is the releasing from those areas where we are being inhibited in some way, shape, or form in our relating with others. And this is very broad because it can be many different things. It's not, whatever this stuff is not new. These are things that perpetually come up for you. But they're coming up again right now to be released at a deeper level. Okay. They're coming up to be released at a deeper level because there's a continuing spiral. So we always hit the same plane, right? But we loop in and out, and it shows up in different ways, but it's the same concept, if you will. So we're in that space now of really looking at and seeing of where we are currently perpetuating some of the same dynamics that we experienced liberation from with our bloodline recently, how we're playing that out in our life in a particular context here presently in this incarnation. So the first kind of round of that energetic transmission and liberatory energy was focused, if you will, on the past, meaning the ancestral karma or ancestral momentum, the patterning of behaviors and the mindsets of the people in our literal bloodline, right? And that same concept and idea, or whatever it was that we were liberated from with the assistance of this divine help, these energetic transmissions, most recently, the current energetic transmission that we are essentially accepting, embracing, and reconfiguring, recalibrating with is how we are creating that anew, or have been creating that anew in our life in a particular context. Okay. And then the next thing, because there is going to be a third wave, a third energetic transmission to support this general liberation process, is going to be how that has shown up in how we relate to the divine. Okay, our spirit team or something. Like it's the same patterning. Context is different. It's the same patterning. Okay, that will come next. You don't need to jump ahead to that, but this is the core of what is here, and this is purposeful. So whatever this through line is of the elements of this core thing that we're being liberated from, released from, is what is underlying all this process. But the purpose is freedom from these things. It's the ending of that particular part of the cycle so that you can go on the next loop up, if you will, to the next stage, and to be more conscientious of it, or even like not engage with it at all, period, depending. But yeah, it's this preparing is interesting because it's like, in order to, oh, one more thing I forgot to mention. So this is happening in connection with the current eclipse cycle that we are in, which is the South Node Virgo solar eclipse container. So I spoke about this in the 2026 Spiritual New Year channeling, which I have the link below if you want to watch that recording. But briefly, the nodes, of course, are in the North Node's in Pisces, South Node is in Virgo. And this axis is, the karma dharma path of the soul. Karma really is just meaning like the action reaction. It's, karma's not, it can be good, bad, neutral, whatever. It's just action reaction, right? It's that process. And dharma is the intended, purposeful, aligned path for the individual soul, right? The South Node being there, and also depending on where it is in the chart, but the South Node being in this Virgo energy in particular, when the karma space is, South Node is about releasing from those things that are hindering your soul growth in a particular area. So literally hindering your dharmic path, your North Node in Pisces, literally, right? So this is a powerful, powerful transit, but it is deeply spiritual. It is deeply soul oriented. Okay. And so we are about essentially halfway through the process, and we just, as we were coming into the spiritual new year at the autumn equinox, had the new moon solar eclipse in Virgo. And whenever we have a new moon solar eclipse in the South Node sign, in general, I talk about how that's not a time where there's necessarily a lot of opportunities opening up for you to, go after things. It really is a time for about 6 months where you are specifically going through a process of getting essentially supernatural help to clear out the stuff that is hindering your path. And because this is literally, life path, this can and does address everything and anything in that regard. So that's where we end, and we're essentially in the second month now of that process, of this 6-month process, because when we get to the next solar eclipse in the spring, like that will begin a whole brand new 6-month cycle. So yeah, we had that first month right after the autumn equinox, and just kind of like sitting in this place of like loss and like what's next, and kind of not knowing. But coming here into this lunar cycle, and I didn't realize this was going to be happening, but with the support of the divine beings and the sun, etc., going through this process of getting this boost from the sun, from Surya, from the spirits, from the divine beings, from my ancestors, from our ascended masters, the teachers and loved ones, and all of that, helping to bring up from the unconscious, from the subconscious, those areas where we have been kind of shackled to these things unknowingly, subconsciously, unconsciously, that are inhibiting our ability to expand, to be more aligned with our soul, with our dharmic path, to be clearer and have an understanding about our true soul nature, have a deeper connection to spirit, et cetera, et cetera. So again, like I said, we've already had the initial or the first phase of this larger work, which seems to be, again, for this lunar cycle, because it's happening pretty quickly. First being the ancestral bloodline work, freeing and releasing you from some aspect of that. Now currently freeing and releasing you from something in your relating within the world, period. Okay. Whether it's you're relating to friends, it's relating to family, relating to work, relating to your creativity, relating to money, whatever. But the core theme is still the same issue that was coming up with the ancestors. But that was their stuff. And now this is you, because you didn't know any better. This is you like, okay, this is what I'm doing now in regards to this relational world of my world in this incarnation, like, because that was past energy, and now this is like present energy. And then, like I said, the third phase, which will be whenever it's going to be, but I'm assuming it'll be before we get to the Scorpio lunar cycle, will be the relation to spirit and how this core theme is also showing up there and supporting your liberation from that. So we give thanks for that. It's a beautiful thing. It's a very beautiful thing. Welcome to folks coming in. Say hello as you join. Let us know where you're coming from, what you might be sipping on. Enjoy my matcha latte. But again, this is in preparation for our next phase. And I'm getting confirmation, yes, this is literally in preparation for the next lunar phase, which is going to be the new moon in Scorpio, which is, I believe, the week after. Well, it would have to be the week after next because it's 2 weeks. It's actually going to be on November 19th. Okay. Oh, and I believe tomorrow, Mercury goes retrograde. Okay. But interesting, right before that new moon in Scorpio, Mercury is going to be retrograding back into Scorpio. So that's actually going to be very, very interesting. It's going to be another activation of that grand water trine. There's a lot of trine energy for that week as well too. There's some, I mean, I'm telling you, when I woke up this morning, like I woke up prayerful, energetic, like there was so much there, beautiful, and I was just like, it's so expansive, but not in a disorienting or like out of body experience. It was just a filling up of the well, if you will. So I'm definitely personally feeling it very viscerally, and I'm grateful for the support from spirit. I mean, truth be told. So, yeah, any questions on that before I expand into the signs? Or start reading the signs, because I'm going to, but let me know if there are any questions about that. I love it. Beautiful energy. Very beautiful energy. Hello to folks coming in. Please say hello. Let us know where you're joining from. At the end, when I'm finished, I will also put the timestamps in and everything so you can jump to what you want to jump to. But please definitely watch the beginning, because the general message is important and will help put this in context. All right, so let's start with Aries. So your card is the Hope card. And as a reminder, these messages are about like these blessings of this full moon. And the context was the general message. One moment. So I've been checking into to see if this actually needs to be about what is being released, or the benefit that comes from the release. But it seems like it's more about what you'll be able to do because of this entire process, in which we're already kind of doing, because again, like we're actually in the middle of this process. Yeah, we'll see. Greetings from Inglewood, sipping on water, looking forward to a restful day today. Oh, beautiful. Welcome. Enjoy the water, yes. Okay, so what you'll be able to do. So with this Hope card for Aries, with this progressive release, in liberation and the energetic, essentially, upgrade and healing in soul consciousness and divine consciousness, we have this hope card. Honestly, what I feel with this is that I never thought I'd get this kind of message for you, but I feel for this, it's more that a lot of that light and that hope, that brightness, if you will, that you tend to shine for others, that 75% of that you will learn to direct inward to light yourself and provide 25%, the remaining amount, to others. And this seems as a way, this is a way to rebalance, not even rebalance, recalibrate how you use your energy so that you can actually be more creative, more expansive, and really ascend to a different level of mastery. And I'm hearing specifically mastery. And it feels like that's starting to become more clear to you now, what that means and what's at stake and what the cost has been. To yourself and to your dharmic path, essentially, because of the calibration that you've had previously with your energy. Interesting. Okay. Taurus, you have releasing. This is actually feeling like, in terms of the benefit that you get from this process, is the ability to get things moving. And this is not necessarily, I know there's a lot of activity in the card. This is not necessarily to get other people to do what you want them to do, although you may end up taking more of the lead on things, or like get a momentum going. But it's, it's just being able to move things along quickly, and the external is what you gain from this. It's like there's a component here of like no longer waiting for things or people. And essentially this freedom that arises because your energy isn't, by these various means, it's not encumbered the way it has been before. So this feels like a lot of movement forward. I don't know what that ultimate will look like in your life, but definitely. It's a different vibe for you. Earth signs in general don't really like move fast, quote unquote, compared to the others. Even though there's so much energy and there's a lot of passion, but you do take your time. So that's the vibe I'm getting. Okay, Gemini, you have card 103, useful. So your benefit from this this process of receiving the blessings from this liberation from the sun, from the divine beings. The word for this is useful, but I'm also getting a lot of synergy. And it seems like you finally getting to a place where you understand now how to bring your unique perspective, your unique actions, your unique approaches to things, and that kind of opens up doors for you. You actually have the set of 3 in your picture as well as actually I think I mean there's 4 in, or maybe about 5 in Aries, 3 in Taurus, but yeah, there's definitely multiple energy in here. But there's I'm sure it'll be hard to see that, but the circles are even there. It's like it's an infinity, but there's like a 3rd loop. So it's like it goes around 3 times instead of just twice. Yes, it's like something else gets unlocked. But I'm feeling it more so as synergy as opposed to like Pandora's box thing. Like it makes sense. It's a very creative energy. I like it. But you know what it means, and it's giving me this impression of trusting yourself and trusting your creative genius constructively. Okay, Cancer, you have the card of ending, card number 58. Now, I was getting when I saw this card initially, I was getting similar vibes to the Aries card about. So, you know, if you're watching the timestamp, go back and watch the Aries message. But this was giving me the same vibe of having that contained energy, the majority of it for yourself, but there is obviously a lot that is being sent off just as a consequence to others. But looking more deeply at this, especially after the Gemini message, and again, if you're watching this on recording, go to the timestamp for Gemini. This is giving me that same vibe with the dots here. This is actually specifically coming through as Shakti energy. It's giving me that same vibe of the 3 loops, interconnected loops here. So there's this element of majority of the energy being contained. I don't even want to say contained. Inwardly in quotes. Why is there somebody standing outside my door? Sorry, I don't know if that's like maintenance, but someone was. We'll see. Unless that was my delivery because I had something coming. I'm about to like watch my face and I'm like, what's out there? So yeah, this is this more personally focused energy and this synergy, unique way of looking at things. And this is actually giving a lot of because now my eye is being drawn to all the stuff that's being processed here, here, and here. So almost that can be root or sacral depending on the person, heart, and then 3rd eye. But there's a lot of stuff like coming out of it, and it just allows there to be, it looks like a lot of processing of like clearing things out. Like there's an ability to do that better and more easily. Having said that though, it doesn't, yes, it is a little messy, but it's not actually impacting what's being sent off and expressed from you. All right, like the energy that's sent off and expressed from you is actually really clear. I think part of this also for the Cancer is that this allows you to address the things that actually need to be addressed, rather than the things that you might be concerning yourself with that is not really an issue. Which seems to be more beliefs. I feel like I have to get more about this. This is feeling more. This is feeling a little bit more involved than the others. Got the Princess or Page of Wands and the Moon card with your card at the bottom, the Queen of Cups. So this is for you. What's going on here? Well, that might actually have to be a separate reading. If I have time and depending on my energy is. Let me delve into this later. The thing with the moon is it can talk about the shadow, but also in general in the reading, it talks about just things that are hidden that are not able to be seen yet. If it was a high priestess, then it'd be like, okay, it's available to be unlocked, but that also says that it's not necessarily available to be seen and known at this time. Which, to be honest, is probably for the best, because a lot of what we are, and this is, I'm going to put this as a separate side note. A lot of what we are learning, humans in general, but just also all souls, regardless of species, is understanding our power, our energy, and how to use it. And now, obviously, all these messages are for large collectives. So this archetype frequency being associated with the Cancer archetype, there's a part of this that is very specifically about these dynamics that are popping up. So there is something important in here for that. But again, let me stick with that before I jump back to the Cancer for the side message. Because Cancer archetypally for me represents the individual soul. And this feels like, you know, when we have the moon card energy show up, it's like really dealing with bigger questions and considerations around use of power and impact of that power, not only on ourselves, but on others. So for Cancers, back to Cancers, this is something that archetypally the Cancer energy is facing and dealing with. It is, with this occurrence right now in this lunar cycle, getting freed up to come to greater levels of mastery, but then to be able to see, you know, these places where they're grappling with this energy, but more about this isn't to be known just yet. Now, it may actually specifically come up to be addressed in Scorpio season, again, because of this moon. But yeah, there definitely is more here. There definitely is more here. I mean, to be honest, it's giving me this vibe of literally bridging the light and the dark. The light being like goodness and the dark being evil. And doing work at the intersection of the soul level to process and find the dharmic path. But we'll see. Like I said, that moon energy is there, so it's like I don't want to attempt to try to get info because it is specifically not for deeper revelation right now, at least at the moment, but that may shift later. Okay, was not expecting to go on that tangent, Cancer, but thank you as always. All right, let's see. Let's do 4340. All right, so for Leo, let's get back to the rhythm. You have card number 30, giving. So one second. Oh yeah, I think that was my delivery. Okay. You have giving. So the benefits that coming to you, or what opens up to you after the completion of this process, is this giving card. The energy I'm feeling off of this doesn't relate to the word itself. This feels actually really grounded. Not that Leo is not grounded, but it feels really secure in itself. It feels like mountain energy, not as obstacle, but as like empowerment. It feels really steady. It feels very focused. So if, for the Leo folks, you've been grappling with like dispersed energy, like this might actually be similar to the Aries message as well. Yeah, I don't feel that being an issue for you. This energy feels very focused. It's very obviously different from the Aries message or the card, the visual of this. Like it does feel very focused, but the groundedness and the focus and the power in that, and it's not overbearing, but it is very. I don't have other words to describe the physical feelings of that. But it's nice for you. But this apparently is important, and it's going to be important related to, again, the issues that this energy transmission is liberating you from. These patterns that the energy transmission is liberating you from. Because maybe you have been dealing with scattered energy. Maybe you have been putting your focus and attention on things that doesn't need your attention and focus, like whatever it is. And then it may also be the ability to, because there's so many different like tributaries and lines here, to be able to hold this space internally, regardless of where attention, activity, etc., is occurring in your external world. It's like you can actually handle the many things. And this might actually be part of the understanding of this process is excuse me, clearing out that Cancer energy. You may have been inadvertently putting your energy into things to kind of manage them or lead them or what have you. And that's not really necessary. Like maybe you actually just need to come to this understanding so you, again, are better utilizing your energy and how you show up in the world. I'm not sure I'm quite explaining this well. Like I get it, but I don't know if I'm explaining this well. I guess to use your ruling planet or your ruling luminary, the sun, like the sun doesn't have to have its micromanaging mitts, if you will, in every planet's business. It is the central force. It is that which guides everyone, and everything follows around it and its work. And it has an influence, but it doesn't need to be in everyone else's stuff. This also does feel like it's related to and a read for the Cancer energy. Okay. Alrighty. Next is Virgo. So Virgo, you have the Falling in Love card. Card number 6. So these blessings here, this is very much feeling like alignment with others, being in parallel with others that are on the same wavelength, going in the same direction, and being able to be open and available for opportunities for collaboration. Again, as I'm saying these things for all signs, it is all context, okay, in all areas, because the support and the healing and everything is ancestral, personal, relation to spirit, everything. Yeah, this also feels like it's important because there is a deep desire I'm picking up with this of wanting to be able to connect, but not necessarily wanting to be as engrossed as other people tend to be or in the way that they tend to be. And so there's like this understanding that's coming through about um, like it's okay to still be engaged in a process and to still be open and available to that and go to invest in a level that you feel comfortable with and still be part of the process and to let that be okay. Um, I feel like you know this, but maybe on some level or in some aspect of life, because again, this is not like everything, but in some key area of life, this might be an issue that has been popping up. But yeah, whatever you are, regardless, you're being freed up to be able to do this, and this is the benefit that comes of it is being able to find synergistic again folks who are on similar paths and all that kind of thing, and connecting in a way that is interdependent rather than codependent, which is what you like. So you do not like being bound. All right. So for Libra, you have card number 21, freedom. The benefit that you get from this process is freedom. This seems like freedom of self-expression, and that actually being an attracting force. So I'm wondering for you, Libra, if you've been operating from a place of mental magnetism rather than auric magnetism, if you will. Or at least that's been the consequence of whatever the things that you've been and you are in the process of being liberated from in this lunar month. So, whatever it is, but the freedom, I'm getting a more of a attraction energy that comes from this, and it's not of you like trying to be attractive or trying to present a certain way, um or being the mediator, seeing both sides, like none of that kind of typical Libra stuff. It's really just like, oh, this is me. I'm showing up. I am blessing everyone and everything with my presence and my unique perspective and my insights and my creativity and all the things. But this is me showing up because this is really just who I am. Um, yeah, and it just feels like, oh, that's a freeing thing and that's important. So somewhere along the line or in some way, shape, or form capacity, maybe that has been inhibited um, up until now. So kudos to you. For Scorpio, who's like, center stage right now. Scorpio, you have card number 97, weak. So this is the blessing. This is what this opens you up to. me get cards for you, because I feel like that's also a deeper message. Maybe the water signs this month are just because there's the grand water trine happening, and all the big energy in your signs is just like a lot just archetypally being processed, just because it feels like a belief system thing with the weak card. Two of Pentacles with the Ten of Swords and Judgment on the bottom. Oh, you know what? This feels like a looping mind. So being able to be freed from that looping mind or doubt and all that kind of stuff. It's like that's not so basically and essentially an ability to recognize that and to proactively choose not to have that perspective or take those actions, etc. Or at least it frees you up to actually start addressing it. Because maybe there's actually been a lot of things that have been pulling your focus. And it seemed, I mean, if things are pulling your focus, they're important for their own reasons. And I mean, to be honest, also, because this is more internal, it feels like. Obviously, again, it has impacts on the external world, but maybe there actually has to be a realization that you are not invincible. And that you are weak and that you can be hurt. Like one's ability to be resilient and to be able to bounce back and to have that understanding, to have that deep faith and knowledge, does not negate the fact that ultimately you are not all powerful, even though you are very powerful. I mean, I know I kind of like add to this mystique around the water sign power, but also just like Scorpio power in general, because I tend to say Scorpio is the most powerful zodiac sign. Not that necessarily it's the zodiac sign that always wins or that can always beat other signs, but it is the most powerful. But being very powerful and being all powerful are two different things. Being all powerful, being very powerful and being all powerful are two different things. And this is the gift. This is the gift. Okay. Sagittarius, you have card number 40, power. Well, your blessing is power. Your blessing is power. This is really coming across as wholeness. Again, very similar to the Aries card. Go back and watch that message. I do recommend, because you are a fellow fire energy. What is this about for you, though, specifically? This is actually the first time in this sequence where it's like just been very quiet. What is this Tower about? This might actually just, well, not just, this might be a situation where there's an internal balance that you are able to come to. Between passion and wisdom, intuition and instinct, yin and yang, Shiva, Shakti, like there's a balance here. Interesting. I'm pausing because I'm like, I feel like you already know and understand that, but maybe not. Maybe there's been a predominance of one or the other. Or there's a tendency to lean into one or the other. Yeah, but it feels like that kind of internal division is not there and there's balance. Like you're actually learning how to use both rather than like separating them. And again, this is in ways that are unique and fundamental to your dharmic path. Because, you know, one Sagittarian's way of dealing with this is going to be very different from another Sagittarian's way of dealing with it and what that looks like in their life. But at the core, like this is the blessing that you are opened up to and can embrace and deal with and all of that. So it's going to be interesting to see when we get to the end of this process by the new moon in Scorpio in 2 weeks, what that's actually going to be looking like for your energy. Because this feels very, and you can see in there, it's like a swirl, it's like a galaxy there, but it's like the creation of a sun or the creation of a galaxy, but there has to be a central point where all of the centrifugal forces are rotating around and gravitating into, as well as that centripetal expansion or expression, I guess. Yeah, this actually feels like the beginning of a new universe, the beginning of a new sun, the beginning of a new path, but it's that organizing, balanced, circulating principle is what is there. And that fits because what comes next up to you as a fire sign is Aries, is like the light, the sun, that spark. So that's very interesting. It's an interesting way to feel into your energy in this way, Sag. Um, because Sag in general doesn't really feel contained, so to speak. It feels like just very big, very wild, very expansive, very hard to kind of like pin down. And that very much is a story. That's not the vibe here. It's like that big energy being harnessed by the wisdom of Virgo, which is your counterpart. Archetypally, like Virgo helping to kind of shape and mold and get that process going. That's interesting. That's interesting. Okay. All right. Let's go to Capricorn. So you have the preparing card number 83. So my eye is drawn to this up and down process here, a path of like, making progress going in a certain direction, and then there being a retraction or obstacles or whatever, challenges, and then like having the impetus and the door opening up to go down another path or go further along a path, etc. So this is feeling like once this process is completed and you actually are, I mean, this is all happening all together. It's not like you have to wait until, but what this process is setting you up for is going on that next upward path, that next expansive path, again, regardless of the context of what that's going to be for you. But this process opens you up to that next thing. And it's that next thing or things is higher than what has been attained before. So if you can see, I don't know if you can see here, this next path has already extended past the height of, or the path that, you would be opening up to would extend past that one. So that's there. Now, I say that to say also there may be a fear of like, the higher I go, the lower the fall is going to be, but you don't necessarily have to fall all the way back down there under the descending cycle. So there should be some wisdom there about the descent not being a full, descent to the very beginning, a spiral rather than a linear path is good, because if you spiral, you're going to spiral down just a part of the way, like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, rather than 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, right? Like it's not, we don't want to have that happen again. So on this next path where you're going to go further, a different choice can be made so that, because there's naturally going to be a dip, that is how life is, but it doesn't have to be like a dip all the way down here. It could be a dip down to the previous height, right? Like you can mitigate how deep the dip is in some cases, in a lot of cases actually, but not all, but in some cases, yeah. So you can mitigate the coming dip, because the coming dip is promised. But yeah, whatever is next is bigger and beyond and farther and higher. And that's what's available and open to you at the end of this process. Good afternoon. Welcome, welcome. We are going to our last 2 signs. I will put the timestamps up afterwards so you guys can check it out. So we're going to go with Aquarius now. Card number 10, Fortune. Speaking of spirals. So this is what you are opening up to, Aquarius, next. As a consequence, as a blessing from this process of liberation, riding the waves of the energy transmissions from the sun and from the divine heavenly realms. This actually feels like, or the impression I get from this card is that rather than using all the possibilities as distractions, you now are clearly seeing the available options to you, and you are actively, purposefully, and um, intentionally engaging with those options that are the most viable options and going further along that road. So, um, rather than there being like a jumping through all the different things, like there's really probably only a few things now that you have settled in of like, okay, this actually is what I value. This is what's important to me. These couple of things, because it's never going to be just one thing with you, Aquarius, right? These couple of things, and I'm focused, going to continue on it, et cetera, et cetera. Like that's the vibe. I love that for you. It feels like a good handle on things. The energy isn't scattered. There is this running theme I'm picking up through a lot of these messages about focus. Not everybody, but most folks. There's been an element of that coming through of focused attention, of focused energy, focused action. So I love that, and that feels like it's it. Like it's short and sweet. I feel like so far from what I've come across, you're well along your way in this process, and you are, out of everybody, probably having the easiest time, and you're getting to it quicker comparatively to what I'm picking up with everybody else. Okay, last but not least, we have Pisces. Card number 100, time. I feel like this is the card that Pisces tends to get. I feel like the time card has come out multiple times for Pisces. But this is what opens up for you, what's available to you through this process, through these gifts and these blessings. Again, the cards for you. Yeah, all the water signs. The energy is just very big for you, so I'm having to use the cards to focus it. Nine of Pentacles, Four of Swords, and the Ten of Pentacles. This feels like an ability to reconcile or accept physical life, human life, and the dynamics of that. Yeah, it almost feels like a settling in and a deepening into the constraints of time, space, so to speak, or the constraints of worldly living, but also like the laws of worldly living. So there's almost this vibe of like, okay, I see how things are. I might not like it or think it could be or should be done differently, whatever. But what do I want to do with it? How do I want to make this work for me? How do I want to leverage opportunities? How do I want to minimize obstacles? Right? Like it's an intentional engagement with the limitations of human life that are just inherent, regardless of like where you are and what your circumstances are. It's just the acceptance of it and the engagement with it, and not from a begrudging way, but from a place of deep mastery. With the understanding that, you know, the deeper spirit within is unchanged and unchanging. But, you know, you are an active player in this process. And you're freed up from yourself, or some way of being where you are allowing yourself to engage with the process more dynamically. Yeah, this actually feels like more investment in the physical world. Like from the visual here on this card, this is looking like the stream of incarnation, the stream of life. And there's a part that is, you know, the non-physical, like obviously the spirit, and then the soul, the human embodiment, the life itself that's hooked into this stream. And there's more engaged here compared to here. Like you're freed up to be able to do that. That's the gift and that's the blessing. Ooh, actually, this is coming through in particular specifically because um there are actually a lot of things that you want to do and be involved with and engaged with that you might not have been able to do in previous incarnations just due to circumstances or what have you. But whether you believe so or not, there is actually a lot that is available. And when I say a lot, it's going to be specific to a specific person. But there's a lot that's available to you to explore. It requires effort. It requires like being in the fray. But there's more that is wanted this time around to engage with and to play with. There's more desire. There's more to work out. And yeah, it's just what you seek at a deeper soul level is going to come through the burning of that, of the pursuit of those things and the fire of that process. Which I know seems counterintuitive because we associate Pisces with being, you know, the fully spiritual sign and like not being, not saying this, everybody has this concept, but it can just be associated with like just everything non-physical and not as much the physical, whatever that's going to mean for you. But even though there's no fire here, I'm feeling like there has to be more fire, more yeah, just more fire. And again, obviously this is going to be related to whatever it is that you've been in the process of being liberated from at these different levels. It's almost like this frees you up to keep trying and to keep being here and being in the process because you're still here in time. So even if things haven't worked out in whatever way, shape, or form, or not to your liking or what have you, it's like, that doesn't mean that you stop. It doesn't mean that you give up. Yeah, like yes, you have to keep fighting. You have to keep going. You have to keep trying again. You have to get to that place where you're willing to let go of the nostalgia of the pain, the ideas you have, the fears you have, the not enoughness, like whatever is there. It's like, so what? So like that fire of youth, if you will, that would push you to take risks, that would push you to strive into that energy, like that's what's there, that's what's needed. But that's what is actually being gifted to you and freed up for you, to engage with the process more. Engage with the process of life more. Okay. So in closing, based off of the messages that have come through, there are some key things I want to tie together because this is related for everybody. So obviously I've gone through all zodiac signs, and this feels like it's very much a situation where I think everyone should actually listen to all signs, because all signs are in all of our houses in our natal chart. And we can see where this is probably coming up for us in these particular areas and where we're being freed, because again, this comprehensive blessings that we're receiving is going to be impacting all levels of our life. It's going to be impacting all levels of our life. Now, if you don't want to watch all of the messages, I would say watch Virgo and Pisces, just because the North nodes are there. Watch the Taurus message because of the full moon that we just had. Watch the Libra message because we're in the Libra month. Okay, so definitely, and the Scorpio. And then whatever else. But yeah, this is a lot of internal work, a lot about focus, and leaning into your own unique authenticity. And that essentially we're being freed up to be able to do so. You may find, especially since we're in right now, the middle part of this process, heading towards the final third stage of this process, that you're starting to do this a little bit more. So the momentum will continue to grow over the coming weeks, and it'll feel easier and easier to do this. And there'll be clearer and clearer understanding coming through about the implications of what these blessings mean for you on an individual level. But collectively, this is about our collective victory towards self-empowerment and active engagement with life. Like less of a reactive way in engaging with life and more of a intentional engaging with life. Like that's very clear here. Because all of this, regardless of the person, all of this is like getting a clearer understanding of who you are, what you are actually working with, and then how you're choosing to move forward, which is a very empowering path. And it says, you know what, I actually want things to be this way, or I want to engage in certain things so that there can be a particular kind of outcome. And this isn't really feeling selfish, because this is soul led rather than human ego led. And the soul is under the influence of these greater divine energies, which is moving us along the dharmic path, which is why this energy feels so expansive and so beautiful, and it feels like blessings, because it is. This is what it feels like to be in alignment. And we're getting the taste of it. And also, it's not that we haven't ever experienced it before. We definitely have. But we're coming around to this at a deeper level again. Coming around to this at a deeper level again. There's one more thing. Hold on. So I know the focus of this message is here on Earth, but this is a solar system message as well. There's a collective ascension of the solar system as a consequence of the step up in evolution, or the dharmic path, if you will, of the sun itself. The sun itself is also on its own dharmic path, evolutionary path. This is about this. It's already shifting very esoteric, but it's there might be another download coming through. So hold on. I'm actually checking to see if I am to do a different stream on that one. Welcome to folks who are here. I will say the main messages have stopped, so you don't have to be here for this process. But I want to stay in this this flow. I'm at a loss for words to formulate for the limited amount of space to type, but it's giving that discussion that needs to be had. You mentioned in a message over a month ago. Oh, remind me, please, because I don't be remembering things I said. What was the message? I've been dealing with the near transition of one of my brothers, and it brought up heavy conversations with my siblings that rang for truth behind living. Yeah. Oh, sorry to hear about the situation with your family, though. But yeah, if you can remind me about the type as much as you need to, but the discussion needs to be had from over a month ago. I don't remember. I don't be holding the channelings in my mind. Just let the kind of info come through and then bounce. So I'm sitting with this energy around the progression and development of the sun and the greater solar body. So that's why it's a bigger message for right now. There may not be something for me to come through, but I'm just trying to settle into to this energy. Let's see what's up. I'll pull up my notes and circle back for better accuracy. Okay, cool. Sounds good. I'll still be here, at least for the time being. So broadly, this seems to be, and I say broadly because again, I'm dealing with the solar system message. Broadly, this seems to be, I should have started with the, when I initially went off on a tangent. So broadly, this seems to be a message about, divine beings, using that term broadly, being able to be here and to come here and have experiences at various dimensional levels, here being solar system. And so there being support at a galactic level to clear out karmic patterning and quantum coupling to old ways of operating that inhibited continued expansion and growth, etc. Or essentially like, you know, the dharmic path, because ultimately the sun is now on the ascending path of its journey in relation to the Milky Way galaxy. Excuse me. It's only in the relatively beginning part of the ascending cycle, so it's still technically in Kali Yuga. but it's at that part now where it's going to be in the second half, and it's in the second half and on the ascending part. Again, in relation to its journey throughout the Milky Way galaxy. And this is just based off of the science that we have and that we know, and it's distance from the galactic center. Satyuga would basically be the perihelion position for the sun. But we're the opposite, so it's the, I can never pronounce this word, but is it Apophelion or, hold on. I have to actually like see it so I can pronounce it. The words just don't, the language. Yes, apophelion. Okay. The prefixes make sense. Helium meaning the sun, but you know, assuming great central sun at the center of the Milky Way galaxy. Anywho, yeah. I think that's all that I can say around that for right now, or at least that's all that's going to come through. Okay. So all the planets essentially going through similar things because this is the journey of our great sun. So this is what the experience is like for us in terms of our personal experiences. All right, y'all. I think we're good now. I think that was plenty. Any questions before I bounce? Any questions before I bounce? Nothing? Okay. So with that being said, enjoy your blessings. Enjoy this process of energy transmissions from the sun. There will be another beautiful batch coming before we close out this Libra lunar cycle. So expect that to happen. And now you know what to look for and what it's going to be related to. So keep that in mind. Engage with the new expanded self, the new expanded perspectives that are showing up for you, and ride that wave. Okay. And of course, share your experiences in the comments. I always love it. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Please like the video, please comment, and please share to help circulate this not only within the YouTube ecosystem, but within the community at large. I love you all. Have a wonderful weekend, and God willing, I'll see you next time. Bye.